Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome once again to IAG Live, and I am sitting in the luxurious surroundings of MGM Cotai here in Macau. I'm actually at the upmarket Starbucks they have here, the black brand, whatever it's called, I've forgotten. Starbucks something or other, gold or premium or something quite nice here. And a big thank you to MGM. Geez, I better get his title right. VP of IT, SVP of IT. Sorry, Derek, if I got that wrong. Derek Watterand, who helped me get on the high-speed internet here so that we can give you a great experience for IAG Live. And as always, we have our studio producer, our intrepid studio producer, Oscar Guiaro. Come on in, Oscar.
Hello.
Spain, Espanol.
Ole, ole, ole.
You must be very excited.
I'm very excited and very scared at the same time.
Well, you've got Argentina now. I heard a little rumor that they're not your favorite team, Oscar.
They are not. They are not. We have bad experience. Well, not everyone has had bad experience with them.
Oh, there you go. They're the perennial villains. They're the perennial villains.
They have great players, yeah, but so doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, you guys aren't too shabby yourselves. You guys are going okay.
Yeah.
So Monday, 3 a.m. Macau time, I believe.
Indeed, that's.
I am sure there's one person in Macau that's going to be watching. Yes, we'll be very, very excited. Well, good luck, Oscar. It's been a long World Cup with the 48 teams instead of the 32. And now that Australia is well and truly gone and everyone else is gone, we're all supporting you guys. So hopefully you can go one further step. Very exciting. And as always, our managing editor, Ben Blashke. Come on in, Ben.
Hey, Andrew.
Where's the fish?
I've changed locations, Andrew. So I thought I'd give you some nice pictures of my dog Willow in the background. And a bit of wine to the back here.
We're obviously paying you too much. This is an upgrade.
Yes.
It looks good. Yes. Looks good. Ben, you shocked me there. Okay. So are you in the same place in Sydney or are you in a different place?
I am. I'm in Sydney. I've just changed rooms. I've gone about 5 meters from where I normally.
Okay. So it's not that you want to cross country or anything. Oh, very good. Well, no. That's a nice little background. Very good. All right, Oscar. Well, good luck. We'll say goodbye to you, and we'll get on with the rest of the show.
Okay.
There you go, Oscar. Oscar cut himself off. All right, Ben. Well, let's get into stories of the week. Why don't you take us through and lead this, and I'll chip in with comments nobody wants to hear.
Well, Andrew, we've written quite a bit recently about the issue of scam compounds, scam hubs across Southeast Asia, and obviously in Cambodia, it's been a particularly big issue. That coffee looks very nice, Andrew. I might make myself one later. So that's been a problem, obviously, in Southeast Asia for quite a while. So that's sort of been reflected in the visitation in Cambodia for the first half of this year. Visitation down quite a bit, actually, compared to last year. And authorities have pointed to a few factors, but of course, negative publicity around these scam hubs is one of them, of course. So that's sort of really deterred, Chinese visitation, Korean visitation to Cambodia.
Yeah, I wonder how much of a factor that is in reality. It'd be interesting to see some kind of university study on that or something, but that's not good for the country. And I mean, the senior leadership of the country, they're taking it pretty seriously, aren't they?
They are. They've spoken about, in fact, last year, the Prime Minister spoke about the fact that it was, I think, a national priority. He labelled it as to eradicate these scam hubs. It's not easy to do, obviously. I mean, half of these, they're in mass compounds masquerading as other businesses. They're obviously trying to evade detection. So it's not the easiest thing in the world, but they have to focus and they have to do something about it. It's not a good thing to be viewed as housing in your country.
No, I mean, it's almost a national disgrace, and that's not to criticise Cambodia, but it's embarrassing for them. And I mean, Cambodia is a wonderful country, and they're trying to develop and they're trying to do the right thing. And we wish all the best for Cambodia. We want to see them continue to pull themselves up economically and in their status throughout Asia Pacific and the world. And it's not good that these criminals have seen fit to treat Cambodia as a hideaway for these. I mean, often they're off in the jungle, difficult to find, or they're hiding in plain sight in bigger cities like Sihanoukville or whatever. As you say, masquerading as other businesses. So we hope that this can be eradicated. And why are we, IAG, focusing on it? Well, they're often masquerading as casinos, and originally they did sort of grow out of the grey online casino industry, didn't they? They were offering online gaming services, but then I think particularly during COVID they realized they could just do they could just go straight to love scams, investment scams, whatever. Why bother paying people sometimes? Why not just take money off them all the time? So this is a real issue and needs to be resolved. But we're reporting on it. We wish them well, and hopefully they can put the resources in. Perhaps other countries around Asia can help them as well, because it's good for all of Asia to eradicate this. Philippines has got a lot of experience in this area and has been quite successful in having eradicated them all, but eradicated a lot of them. And that's been through good cooperation between not only PADCOR, but also Immigration Department, the PNP, the Philippine National Police, and other various government agencies in the Philippines have cooperated. So they've done a pretty good job on this, the Philippines. But maybe they have a word or two to tell to Cambodia, and maybe that is happening behind the scenes. And who knows, maybe the Cambodian regulators and the Philippine regulators will get together for a chat at the IAG Expo on September 14 to 17. I'm sure they'll definitely both be in town. All right, what's the next story, Oscar? Yeah, Okada Manila's results.
Yeah, so Andrew, this is this trend that we've seen in the Philippines, particularly in Manila, for a couple of years now, or certainly for 18 months now, is just this ongoing decline, particularly in the VIP segment. In fact, if you sort of delve into Okada Manila's results, the decline is entirely in the VIP segment. In fact, I think mass and slots are maybe slightly up from a year ago, but VIP quite a bit down. So that's really the ongoing issue that we're seeing in the Philippine market.
Yes, not great times for Okada Manila. Their profit and revenue down. Is it largely in line with the rest of the Philippines, or is it a little less, or is it a little more? We probably should have a look at that. You might not be able to answer that immediately, Ben. We might have to look at that and get back next week on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Okada is the first to release their 2 key results for the Philippine operators, so it's something we'll have more visibility on over the coming couple of weeks, I would say.
No, well, let's have a look at that. When as who else is going to be released? Obviously, Newport will release results, as will Solaire, right? So, how do the Melco results work there, Ben? Are they sort of subsumed into the wider Melco accounts, or can we get indication from the partner from Premium Resorts?
From Belcorp,
Belcorp's subsidiary, right?
Premium Leisure Corp. So Melco Resorts will release the full results as part of their broader company. So they break it down into each property that they own. So that will give full visibility when they do that. Usually Melco is about 4th in line of the 6 Macau operators to release. So that should come early August, those results. Right.
So we're getting the Q2 results starting to come through, starting to get into earnings season for Q2. All right, Very good. What's next, Oscar? Andy's made the move over to the UAE. Andy been at Solaire for 10 years, I guess.
Yeah,
scroll down a bit,
years,
Oscar.
Andrew.
Yeah, there you go. 1.6K, so 1,600 people reading the story. And she was head of retail, wasn't she? And then she moved to partnerships or something. Do you have it in the story?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Andrew. That's sort of the progress that she's made, and heading over to Wynn Al Marjan Island is to head up private access, which is, of course, one of Wynn's premium membership brands for their elite customers. So And there'll be plenty of those, I would assume, at Wynn Al Marjan Island as well, Andrew.
If you're a lead customer of Wynn, you're doing all right, because I mean, if you look at Wynn, it's the top 3%, and if you're a lead customer of the 3%, you're probably doing pretty well. So yeah, a little factoid, a fun fact: Andy's husband, whose name just quickly escapes me, is a bit of a celebrity. We may have lost Ben here. A bit of a celebrity in the Philippines. Whenever I've been out with them, he tends to get mobbed by Filipinos. So I think he's a TV host or something like that. Some of the people watching this now might be yelling at the screen saying, no, he's this, but he's something like that. And look, Andy's been a great friend of IAG's in that executive sort of leadership team of Solaire under Tom Arasi and then Greg Hawkins, and now Sean McCreary. And it's good to see her moving over there. Apparently, we said she was the latest to move, and apparently then I found out she wasn't actually the latest to move, but she was the latest for it to become public. Apparently, she moved over there before Cyrus. The Cyrus Sherifat, of course, moving over there in the gaming side of things. So a couple of and GP as well, right? Gianpietro Isipi, great guy, GP. He'll be a real asset to them. They all will. All three of them will be a real asset. Going over there as well. So Wynn Al Marjan drawing a bit of talent from Solaire.
I mean, it's a bit of credit to Solaire, isn't it, really, that, Wynn looks at this brand and this property as a great source of talent. It goes to show the job that Solaire has done in positioning itself over the past 15 years or so, as a bit under 15 years, but as the sort of the premier brand in the Philippines.
13 years, out in 2013. Yeah, 100%. I mean, Solaire had a little bit of a rocky start, if you remember, with that GGAM stuff, and there was some legal disputes there with some people I won't name, and it took Mr. Razon a little while to get himself out of that and freed from that. In fact, quite a while. In fact, I think we were reporting on it really up until maybe, 2020 even, maybe, or 2021. But then finally they came to a settlement and he's got himself extricated from that. But he brought the management of Solaire in-house not very long after it started. I think maybe a year or 18 months, or certainly no more than 2. Tom Arasi then became the COO there and the clear sort of leader on the ground, and Tom did a great job at Solaire. And Solaire has, always been sort of the one to watch, the number one, sort of the one to chase if you're one of the others, as the sort of leading light. I know Mr. Hahn up there at Hahn has looked at Solaire as a guiding light, as some inspiration for some of the things he has done. I'm sure Kevin Tan in Newport is looking greedily at Solaire and trying to catch up, and to a certain extent has done a bit of that. And True also, City of Dreams and Carter Manila are down the road as well. And of course, we'll have Westside open there too. So the competition's going to be hotting up over there in Manila. Westside. Am I jumping the gun? Is there a story later on Westside? Maybe I'm jumping the gun.
There is. Well, not so much on Westside, but on the company in general. Newport. But yeah.
Yeah, but they'll be opening, I think, what is it, later this year? They're meant to go open or something? I did ask
look, the talk,
senior person there.
The talk has been September, and I've had nobody correct me on that when I've asked some questions. So I know that September is the target, but there's been no official date put out there just yet. So who knows, September, October, couldn't be too far off.
No, you'd want to open by November, wouldn't you? Because you want to get Christmas. In the Philippines, you definitely want to get Christmas. So if you don't want to be opening in December in a way, that wouldn't be good. Anyway, we got off on a tangent there from the story about Andrea, or Andrea, as I should say. But lovely lady. We wish her well in Al Marjan. I think I might be going there in the second week of January. Is the current plan with all the travel. So it'd be great to catch up with Andy and GP, Cyrus, of course Max, the COO over there who's running the show, Max Tapiner, I should say. Lovely guy as well. They're really building a good team there, but they're going to need it, aren't they? It's going to be an amazing thing when that opens, that Wynn Al Marjan. That's going to be Yeah, it could be the best integrated resort in the world. I think. I really do think that. So they're going to need a really uh, crack team. That's the word. The polite word. I had a not so polite adjective in mind. The crack team they'll have over there. So that's good. All right, let's move on. What's next, Oscar? Hey, Playtech getting UAE again, right? Playtech getting a license. Quite a few supplier licenses now in the UAE, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is an interesting one because, of course, Playtech are in the online space and a platform provider in the online space. So, that's quite interesting looking at what's happening in the UAE at the moment. I think there's one online license provided to the Momentum Group. There is
Play
talk
971.
about yeah, exactly. Play 971 is the site. So, I mean, I guess, Playtech, not Playtech, coming into that space. And
that's the child of Playtech and TikTok. Playtech.
Exactly right. Playtech. What did Donald Trump say recently? Tic-tac?
Tic-tac, yeah. Tic-tac. Okay.
Tic-tac.
Sorry, Ben, I interrupted you. I apologise.
Yeah, look, no, I'm just interested to see how the online space rolls out in UAE because there's been talk about, there could be, just as there's been talk about the land base, there could be a license in every emirate. Probably not, but there could be in theory. There's been talk about the same in the online space. So I guess we'll see how that plays out over time. I don't think that'll be happening anytime soon.
We'll have to ask Kira. He's the CEO of the regulator now. So, and Jim Murren, of course, the chairman of the regulator. They're both well known to IAG. So hopefully we see one or both of them at the IAG Expo. And as I say, I'll be going there in January. So hopefully I can catch up. See how we go. It's really interesting, the UAE, isn't it? I mean, they went from, there's no casinos in the Middle East. Then all of a sudden UAE announces Wynn. And then they're having online. So they've really, that's a big step to go online. And it's only one operator. And they're trying to keep it sort of very quiet and not quite as in hiding it, but they're just trying to roll it out. But they've sort of rolled it out quite slowly, haven't they? And carefully over the last, how long have we been following them now? 4 years, maybe 5 years?
A few years now. And it's interesting the way that the regulator has granted these licenses, these gaming-related vendor licenses. The first few were sort of your aristocrats and your light and wonders, your sort of typical land-based suppliers traditionally. And then they started to go into your payment platforms, payment gateways, and now the last two have been Playtech and Endorfina. So we're really into the purely online providers.
Space, yeah.
So,
and of course we did that story. Sorry, Ben. We did that story a couple of weeks ago about Play 971 and Fanatics, right, in the US. What was it? Remind the viewers about that.
I've got to remember what I wrote about, Andrew. I know that there's been a couple of stories ahead of the World Cup. I think Play 971 were rolling out.
No, what it was that they had partnered with Fanatics. Now I got to go back and look at the story properly as well. Who knows? Maybe Oscar's scrambling to find the story in the background. But Play 971 and Fanatics maybe did a joint venture, and the Fanatics maybe was going to run Play 971 site for them or something along those lines. And Fanatics was an interesting choice. They're predominantly in the US. So then again, the people behind, I happen to know that the people behind Play 971 are American. So they're American Asians. So I'll just say that. So, maybe that may kind of make sense. Anyway, let's move on to the next one, Oscar. Oh, Ben, you're coming and going.
I'm back now. Yeah, so this is what we were talking about earlier, Andrew, with Newport World Resorts of Alliance Global Group. The parent company, we'd sort of forgotten about this, really. The deal was done 3 years ago for Alliance Global Group to buy out Genting Hong Kong's stake in Newport, in Travellers, the parent company there. That deal's finally been fully completed. So, look, they didn't really go into too much detail, but given that Genting Hong Kong went into administration, I assume there was, a lot to work out in that time around, distribution of funds and proceeds and paying off money they owed, etc.
Well, the liquidator, I think, right? So they appointed a liquidator or receiver or whatever they call it in Hong Kong, because it would be Genting Hong Kong, right? So the first thing to say as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, which I guess I am, is don't put multiple assets in the same investment vehicles. So I mean, so they lost their equity in Resorts World Manila as it was then, as it was named then, now Newport World Resorts, purely because of their troubles in Germany over the Genting Hong Kong cruise business and shipbuilding business. So as people, I won't go into the details; it's all in the story. But so in a kind of a way, that was an unfortunate consequence of of what happened during COVID, when obviously the cruise business was decimated. It wasn't just about the cruise business being decimated in COVID; it was also about what was going on with that German, how do you pronounce it, Werhan something or other, or Verhan something or other. That I'm sure it's in the story there somewhere. The shipyard, it was all about the shipyard. Do you remember what it's called? It's a German name.
Look, my German, even though my surname is German, Andrew, my German is not the best. So,
sprechen Sie Deutsch? Yes, jawohl, Herr Kommandant. Now scroll down, Oscar. Let's find them. Isn't it MV something or other? What's the name of that place? There it is. MV Verton Holdings Limited. So that was the shipyard subsidiary. And there was some problem with that, and there was money drawn down from the government or something. Anyway, that ended up being sort of, insolvent, let's say, and that affected, because the Genting Hong Kong also was the entity that was the owner of the shares in Travellers, I guess it was. Apologies if I've got this slightly wrong, but they were, sometimes they're interspersing with subsidiary companies. But they lost their, from that German COVID thing, they ended up losing their equity in Resorts World Manila. Seemingly quite unrelated, but related through the entities that they were using. So that was a wonderful opportunity for the Tan family, right? That was a great opportunity for them to pick up that equity. I mean, the Tans, Alliance Global was actually a minority shareholder, weren't they? They were not even in the majority. I think they were less than 50%. And is that right, Ben? I think it's your story. I think I read that.
It was 60-40, but I thought that Alliance might have been the 60.
I thought Alliance was the 40. We should know this.
They may have been. We should know.
But we cover so many companies now. Sometimes what was that one again? We cover so much area of the world now, and so many companies, so many cities. You've got to go back and read the stuff that you wrote to educate yourself sometimes. But we're good at interpreting things and providing commentary once we do know the facts. But it was a great opportunity for the Tan family, right, to pick up, because there would be no other buyer, really, no other viable buyer. So that's maybe why the liquidator took so long to liquidate the asset, because I think it liquidated all the other assets of Genting Hong Kong, but this was the last asset to liquidate. Maybe he was shopping around trying to find another buyer. Maybe he was negotiating, trying to get a better price. I don't really know the details, but maybe it was something like that. We're just wildly speculating. If anyone knows and wants to disabuse us of an incorrect notion we put out there, please do, and we'll correct it next week. But they finally got it done, and I think it was a good result for Kevin Tan and his dad Andrew Tan and the whole Alliance Global Group, because they now get full control of Newport World Resorts. Having said that, they also have all these hotel chains in there, right? Hilton, Sheraton, Marriott, whatever, which I believe are not franchises, but they're management agreements. So they don't really have absolutely full control of the hotels in some ways. They've got to work with the hotel companies as well, which is unlike the model in, say, Macau, where you've got a Ritz-Carlton in Galaxy, but Galaxy totally controls that Ritz-Carlton. I mean, I think they've franchised the name or whatever. The people that are working in that Ritz-Carlton work for Galaxy. So, of course, Ritz-Carlton has a brand. Actually, Ralph Malik was the guy for many years. I think he's now retired. They would have somebody there to make sure the brand standards were maintained, but of course they would be in a place like Galaxy. So anyway, interesting. This is sort of the final step in the Tan family getting full and complete control of Newport World Resorts, which they obviously now have, and now we have to see what they do with it. They had those changes a couple of years ago where on one day the CFO, the COO, and the CEO were all let go of and replaced. That's quite a bit in the past now, and there's been a new regime over there at Newport. and numbers have improved, and they've made a lot of changes. But there's still a lot of changes yet to come, and they've also got the distractions, so to speak, or the extra challenges of their west side. Probably they've picked up west side now, so that's a lot of work to do. Plus, they're doing Nara Palm as well. They've got Nara Palm, the old Maxim's redevelopment into a new high-end hotel brand that they completely control. So that'll be good, having Nara Palm. There's a lot going on over there in Newport. Not to mention the stuff that they've got going on outside of Manila, right? They've got the place down at Mactan. What's the other one they're developing, Ben? Is it in Boracay?
There's Boracay, yes.
Yeah. I must get to Boracay. I haven't been there since before the pandemic. Another one to put on the list. It'll be interesting to see what they're doing down there. I have been to the one in Mactan. Excuse me. It's right next to the Belmont Hotel and across the road from the new MySpace they opened. I think we reported on that a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? And they held an ASEAN. Philippines this year is the host of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. There you go, the acronym for ASEAN. I think the president of the Philippines was there, if I'm not mistaken, and they held some part of the ASEAN event there in Cebu at that new MICE facility that they've got. A lot of people don't realise that ASEAN actually has hundreds and hundreds of events. They all think it's the two events where they get dressed up in the funny shirts, but actually there's hundreds and hundreds of events, and that is why we are not doing the IAG Expo in the Marriott this year, because the Marriott is taken up for the ASEAN. That's why we're back to the Hilton at Newport World Resort. So there you go. That's a lot of information in one go. So good luck to Newport. We wish them well, and they're great friends of IAG, and we hope they continue on with their various asset programs they've got going on at the moment, redevelopment programs, and that'll be good for them. How are they going for numbers lately? We're waiting for the 2Q results soon, aren't we?
We are.
They had a good Q1, didn't they?
They fared okay. They fared okay by comparison. They had a pretty good Q4 as well last year. They actually showed some increases compared to many other guys going down. But Q1 was a little bit more in line with the market.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Who's next, Oscar? Yeah, we've been writing a bit about Korea, haven't we, and how well it's been going.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting for a number of reasons. One is the pure fact that there's a 50% increase proposed in the tourism levy from 10% to 15%, which I believe would, and that's sort of quite complicated with the way it's done. So this is mainly affecting the mainland foreigner-only casinos in the Philippines as opposed to Jeju. So, and it's a tiered system whereby this 15% would mainly apply to the top earners. So you're looking at your Paradise and your 7 Luck casinos for Grand Korea Leisure, those guys. But it's quite a big jump, and we're talking about tens of millions, $20 million a year potentially in increased levies. Now, I think the government has looked at the fact that the foreign-only casino market in Korea has actually been performing pretty well. They've been on a good run over the past 18 months or so, and I guess they want to jump on the wagon. But ironically, it comes at a time when the foreign-only casinos are saying, actually, we need more support because Japan's coming. It's a very competitive market across Southeast Asia. How about we start really backing this integrated resort model so that Korea is an attractive destination as well, just as much as a Singapore or Macau or Japan in 2030. So, interesting timing in when it's all coming about, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I've been trying to get to Korea. I was planning to get there sometime in July, but I just couldn't do it. So I put my Korea trip off to Q1 next year. If anyone's watching for Korea, I'm definitely going because I'm way overdue to get to Korea, and it's going to be a long trip. I'm going to go for maybe 10 days or so. I'm going to go to pretty much every casino in Korea. I'm going to go to Jeju, all of the Jeju ones, and obviously the main suspects. Paradise City and Walker Hill. Might even go down to Busan. Might even get over to Kangwon Land. So I'm planning to do quite a big Korea trip. You actually said you said Philippines when you meant Korea, just in case anyone got confused. You just accidentally said mainland casinos in Philippines. You meant mainland casinos in Korea that it was affecting. But yeah, I think the big issue there for Korea, as you quite rightly have pointed out, is the 2030 arrival of. I'm starting to believe it might be 2030 now. I kept on saying 2031, but they're starting to convince me. 2030 arrival of MGM Osaka and that will hurt Korea, no doubt. So, because it will affect Japanese visitation. Some of the Japanese that want to go to casinos will go to Osaka, particularly if they're from the Kansai region, right? Which is about, I think, 40 million people, 50 million people, the entire Kansai region, which is the region, Osaka and Kobe and all of those cities around there. So, yeah, interesting. They had been doing quite well. Isn't it funny when an industry starts to do a little bit well, the government jumps in and says we want a pound of flesh? You know, I mean, they just because they're doing a little bit better. I mean, they're not that profitable, the Korean casinos, and now they're doing a little bit better. Then they get whacked with this, which is not great. So I kind of sympathise with them. I feel a little bit sorry for them because a lot of those career developments were predicated on, well, maybe we'll get locals gaming one day, and it's just never happened. It doesn't look like happening, but Japan could be the catalyst for them to have another go and get locals gaming. Now, if Korea got locals gaming, wow, what a game changer that would be, because Koreans love to gamble. So, that'd be interesting. Just look at Kangwon Land. It's not even open 24 hours a day, and it's in the middle of nowhere, and they still do quite all right. So, quite interesting. All right, let's move on. What's next? The Hong Kong jockey. We seem to do this story every year.
Yeah, and every year it seems to just go up a little bit more every year.
It goes up every year, yeah.
Yeah, another few percent. I mean, Andrew, you're very familiar with Hong Kong Jockey Club. It's, it makes some money, doesn't it, for the government there?
18.3 billion. Now, when you say turnover, we always have this problem with Hong Kong Jockey Club. I think you mean GGR, 18.3 billion. I think by turnover, what we mean is the takeout from the pool. So, of course, Hong Kong Jockey Club is a pari-mutual product, pari-mutual like the TABs in Australia. So everybody bets into a pool, and then the operator takes out their VIG or their commission, or whatever you want to call it. There is an official name with a certain percentage. There's actually another concept called breakage as well in there, and it's usually around, most pari-mutuals around 15%. So 85% is returned to player, and a bit like a slot machine. And then they keep the rest. And I think what they keep is that 18 billion is what they keep, that US 18 billion. So if you think about it, it's a bit like a small Macau. Macau's 33 billion, Hong Kong Jockey Club 18 billion. It's half, let's say. It's half of all of Macau. So in some ways, it's like maybe, say, one of Sands and Galaxy and two of the other four in Macau. I mean, that's the kind of money we're talking. So people often forget about Hong Kong Jockey Club. Sometimes, usually Winfried, the CEO of the Hong Kong Jockey Club's in the top 10 of the Power 50, and everybody goes, who? They don't realise, you don't understand how much money they make. And a lot of that money goes back to the Hong Kong government. They're the Hong Kong's biggest taxpayer, the Hong Kong Jockey Club. And they only have three types of betting: horse racing, football betting, and Mark 6, which is like a Tats Lotto kind of product for Australians. Might remember Tats Lotto, like a lottery kind of product. And you can bet online. So they are legal online gambling in Asia. So we cover them in complete iGaming, of course, because they're legal online gaming. So and they got two racetracks, of course, Happy Valley and Sha Tin. I'm pretty sure that must be Sha Tin, sure. Oh, actually, I'm not sure where that is. It could be Happy Valley. Nah, it's got to be Sha Tin, doesn't it? So maybe it's Happy Valley, actually. Yeah, because there's buildings in the background, high buildings in the background. Yeah. So Hong Kong Jockey Club, a very stable, profitable gaming business that often gets forgotten about. So I'm glad that we do cover them quite a bit. All right, let's move on. What's next, Oscar? You can do this one, Ben.
Yeah, look, every quarter the DICJ releases its comprehensive data of games of chance across Macau. The lines that we always look at are the total GGR, but also the baccarat, the VIP baccarat versus the mass baccarat. We've obviously seen VIP decline substantially over the past number of years, particularly since the decline of junkets. It did actually show quite a bit of strong growth. The in-house VIP was pumping along for the last couple of quarters, but dropped again this quarter quite a bit, Andrew, although analysts have been pointing to the fact that the operators played unlucky in this quarter, which had a big impact on that. So now, but interesting to see that GGR really slowed this quarter for a number of reasons in Q2, but a lot of that was on the premium gaming side.
World Cup.
World Cup, low VIP hold, the market,
Fair enough.
things. Yeah,
Other things.
many things.
Yeah. Yeah, no, of course, we should also. I've been meaning for ages to write a story about this. The fact that the DICJ's VIP numbers are not really the real VIP numbers. They're the overstate VIP because there are a number of tables. So, fun fact for people who may not know, Macau operators will know, but others watching may not know that the tables that are designated VIP, those tables you actually pay double the fee. I'm pretty sure it's 300,000 patakas a year, and the non-VIP tables 150,000 patakas a year. Fixed fee. Divide those numbers by 8 for US dollars. As a fixed fee, and then there are of course many other fees as well. This is before the tax. The special gaming tax in Macau is 35%, but by the time you add all the other obligations and fees, it effectively gets it up to around 40%. There have been a number of tables that were VIP, because of the demise of the junkets. There's been a number of tables that were VIP, which have been effectively reassigned to mass. But the operators have decided not to actually go to the DICJ and say, we would like to reassign these tables as mass. Please reassign them. Why? Because if they ever did, in a hurry, want to put them back in a VIP area, by having them as VIP tables, they can. So they can do that instantly without having to go back to the DICJ and reassign them back again. So actually the VIP numbers as given by the DICJ overstate the level of VIP. Now how much they overstate it by, I actually don't know. I'd have to do a bit of research for a story. It's a story I've been meaning to write, no time to do it. We'll get there one day. Maybe we can get Pierce onto that. Tell him the concept, and he can do a bit of digging and ask around, and we can find out. Or maybe Kelsey. Anyway, let's see. Anyway, what's next?
Yeah, this is an interesting one that emerged this week, Andrew. A report by the Auditor General of Singapore looked at many government departments, including the Gambling Regulatory Authority, and it spoke about the fact that how many excluded persons are going into Singapore's casinos, and actually a large percentage of those excluded persons, I believe there are 400 and something individuals detected, and many more cases because they went on many different occasions. They're 400 odd, 450 or somewhere around there. 194 of those were actually casino employees. So obviously employees of Marina Bay Sands going to Sentosa, employees of Sentosa going to Marina Bay Sands, and engaging in some gambling activities. So, yeah, very interesting, Andrew. That obviously they don't mind having a bit of playing for themselves sometimes.
Well, this is not that surprising. I mean, casino workers tend to be players. Okay, let me do a back of the envelope calculation here. Total number of employees employed by Marina Bay Sands. Well, it depends how you count it, whether you include all the retail and all of that. But I don't know. I'm just going to have a wild stab. Just Marina Bay Sands, not Black Sands, China. I don't know, something like 20,000, I guess. Sentosa, smaller number. I don't know, just say 10, maybe 20's a little over, maybe 10's a little under. 30,000. Population of Singapore is about 4 million, I believe. Gee, it's a big percentage, isn't it? Let's say it's 30,000. Even let's just say it's 50,000. That'd be 12.5%. But it's actually, what is it? A little under 50%. So casino players play casino games at 4 times the rate of non-casino players. Yeah, makes sense to me. I mean, that's a real but rough back of the envelope calculation. I don't know, those numbers are guesses, but I would say that that's probably somewhere in the ballpark. So not that surprising. You're surrounded by gaming all day. You see people win. You think you can do it yourself. Off you go. But it's true. We can't deny that that people that work in casinos like to have a punt themselves. Maybe that's how they got involved in the industry in the first place. And also from a senior point of view, the managers, it doesn't hurt to try out the competitor's product and see what they're up to. And I don't see a huge problem with the higher propensity to gamble of casino workers. It's probably a higher propensity to drink it of bar employees too. So it's probably a consistent thing through various industries. But the exclusion, I wonder what percentage of what's more interesting would be the percentage of casino players that are excluded compared to the percentage of non-casino players that are excluded, and whether there's a higher propensity to request self-exclusion amongst casino. I imagine there would be, but it may not be 4 times. Who knows? But anyway, something interesting to think about. Next one, Oscar. Oh, that's it. All right, here comes some comments. We've got Pirate 7089's back again this week. UAE is exciting, but for the totally unanticipated upsets in the region. That's a really good comment. A lot of people have mentioned, and I never bring it up, and other people bring it up, and I kind of forget about it. I think that's all temporary. I mean, the region, what's going on in the region, yes, it's not good, and the UAE is actually very close to Iran. It's straight out of the Strait of Hormuz. And Iraq is right at the top, at that area right near the Strait of Hormuz. But ultimately, at the end of the day, that conflict will settle down. It will be resolved in some way, and then we'll get back to business as usual. I believe construction's back on again. Will they be delayed? Yes, they will be delayed. But they were on a very aggressive timeline to open by the time that they were originally trying to open by, I think, March or April of next year. They won't make that, and that wasn't a very aggressive timeline. I mean, every time I spoke to people from Wynn Al Marjan and Wynn at the very senior management level of Wynn Resorts globally, they were all exhausted and going hell for leather trying to get that place open. So they were really only on that timeline if everything went right. So if one little thing went wrong, they wouldn't make that timeline. And well, now it has with this conflict. So, that conflict will be resolved. I believe at the moment they're talking about a modest delay. Modest delay to me says later in 2027. I don't think you could say 2028 would be that would be more than a modest delay. And if you're going to open in 2027, well, you're not going to want to open. You're not going to be able to open before summer. You're not going to be able to open in the absolute heat of summer. You wouldn't want to open in July or August in the UAE. It's incredibly hot there at that time. So September, October kind of makes sense to me. I think that would be a modest delay, 2 quarters, 6 months, given what's happened. So I think that could possibly be it. And I don't think that affects the long-term prospects of Wynn Al Marjan. I think if I was an analyst, I wouldn't factor it in, other than maybe a little delay to the free cash flow, the revenue streams coming through. Another comment here, update from last week. Crown Blackstone Melbourne Mahogany Management should be congratulated on how they have incrementally adjusted conditions to increase gaming revenue. Well, that's great to hear. Perhaps Pirate has some. It continues on restructuring to ensure the correct mix of marketing staff and the proper focus on high value VIP customer black and ultra black patrons. That's great to hear. So obviously Pirate, whoever he is, has some insights into that, and I'll be heading down to Melbourne next month. Actually, you and I, Ben, will be in the same place at the same time for AG in Sydney in the second week of August. So I guess our IAG live on Friday the 14th, is it, of August, we'll be in person together. Maybe we'll be able to do that from Crown Sydney, and where I'll be staying. And then the week after, it'll be the week after I'll be in Melbourne. So that'll be great to hear, and good to hear that good things are happening down there at Crown Melbourne. They've done all right, Crown, haven't they? They've been getting a little bit better. They've been getting over all of the sort of bad. I think we've mentioned this before, so we don't need to mention it again. But they've been getting over their troubles from the past decade, really, and improving. And I'm planning to go to Sydney Star Brisbane on the way through to Sydney, and finally check out that property Star Brisbane. What am I going to find when I get there, Ben? In Brisbane.
Well, I guess you'll find a property under new ownership, Andrew, although Star's still managing gaming operations there. So, look, I haven't actually been to Star Brisbane yet, even though it's just an hour flight away. I haven't actually made it up there. Well, look, a lot of the contacts, people that we knew quite well at Star are no longer there, given all the restructuring over the years. So sort of starting from scratch again with the company.
But we know the boss. We know the chairman. So I think
we have to go from the top down this time.
Exactly. No, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. He's a pretty cool guy. Okay, all right. Looks like there's no more comments there. So 45 minutes this week, not bad. So look, thanks everybody for watching. We really do appreciate your support. And we're working very hard at IAG. We've actually put a few more staff on, and we're bumped up our editorial team. So we've got Kelsey working for us now. He's been with us a few months now, hasn't he been? A couple of months, 3 months?
Yeah, since a couple of months now, since the start of May. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yes, the start of May. Right, exactly. So May, June, two and a half months. And there you go. Brisbane Star is a great property. So all right, we'll be checking it out. Dedicated poker room. Oh, that'll make your day, Ben. Have you heard much about the poker room in Brisbane? Poker room in the Gold Coast is very good, right?
Yeah, at the moment. So the Star Poker team is sort of run by Martin Corlin and Brett Carter, who were actually laid off recently, but they've been brought back on a contract basis for now. So most of Star's still running cash games at all their properties, but most of their tournaments are currently based in Sydney, or they're holding. There's actually one on right now, a deep stacks tournament on right now at the Star Sydney. They've got WPT Australia coming later in the year. We'll see what happens next year, because the Gold Coast, I really actually love that poker room up at the Star Gold Coast. It's a great place to play poker. And when you bust, you just go to the beach, Andrew.
There you go. Well, if I'm going to go to Star Brisbane, I've got to go down to the Gold Coast. I mean, Jupiter's, stupidest as I call it. It's obviously not. It hasn't been Jupiter's for a long time. I'm showing my age now, but I went there as a kid with my grandparents. Not long after it opened, I was a teenager and I was underage. Obviously, I didn't go to the casino. I just went to have a bite to eat with my grandparents. I think it went out. When did it open? Early 80s. I want to say 81, 82, something like that. Anyway, we should Google that and find out. We should get Oscar onto these things, but we're giving him short notice. But I'm sure there are people watching this or who will watch this after the fact who instantly know because they were there. Our great friend George Lazenby was there at the opening of Jupiter's. May God rest his soul. So I'll get down there as well. So I'll go to Star Brisbane. If we're going to go there, I'll just jump in a car and shoot down to the Gold Coast. It's only an hour's drive, hour and a bit. Shoot down the Gold Coast and check that out, and then and come back again. So that'll be the week before we catch up. So maybe I'll actually do IAG live on the 7th. Yeah, I'll probably do it from Star Brisbane or Star Gold Coast from the 7th. I plan to arrive in Sydney on the 9th, Sunday the 9th. All right. So it looks like there's no more comments. We've done all our stories. We've wished Oscar. Let's get Oscar back and wish him well for Monday. So, you coming back? Can you come back in, Oscar? There you go. Yeah, Oscar, good luck on Monday. Good luck Monday morning, 3 a.m.
Thank you.
Right. Well, we're all rooting for you, as the Americans say, or barracking for you, as the Australians say. So what's the final score going to be, Oscar?
Well, I don't want to say anything because I always fail.
All right. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
I don't want to say that Argentina will win, although maybe it will bring good luck to say just the opposite. But I don't know. I don't know.
Glass half empty attitude there, but that's okay. Well, we wish you luck. Sunday 3 a.m. Macau time. Oh, no, Monday 3 a.m.
Monday 3 a.m.
Yeah, Sunday night. Yeah, it's Monday 3 a.m. So Monday morning you're going to stagger into the office a little bit late. That's okay. We forgive you.
I will say. If we win, I will treat somebody something. Not everybody at the office something for sure.
There you go. Now we're all
celebrate somehow.
We'll celebrate. Yeah, that'd be great. And I'll still be there. I think so. I'm pretty sure I'll still be in Macau on the 3rd. Oh no, this is coming. Oh, of course I will be. Yeah, I will be. It's I'm in Macau for the rest of July. It's the first week of August that I'm leaving, and I'm not quite sure what day on that first week that I'm leaving to go down to Australia. Yeah. Well, good luck, Oscar. We hope you do well. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Oscar. Say bye, Ben.
Bye, Ben.
Say bye, Oscar.
Bye, Oscar.
We'll see you all next week. The team here in IAG. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the World Cup. Grand final. 3 a.m. Monday, and we'll see you next week on IAG Live. Bye for now.